Ladies and gentlemen of the Education and Labor Committee, I'm here today to express my support for the Improving Nutrition for America's Child Act, sponsored by Chairman Miller, and urge you and your fellow representatives to do everything in your power to find the funds to push this crucial piece of legislation through. I'm wearing a few different hats today at this hearing. First off, there is my public one. As a host and judge of a popular television program, I find myself in the slightly surreal position of being able to comment on issues of importance to me and a public willing to listen. I've decided to use this advantage to the millions of American children who rely on school, preschool, after-school, and summer feeding programs for adequate nutrition. Children who don't have lobbyists with deep pockets at their disposal for advocating on their behalf. I'm also here as a chef. There was a time when my job wasn't public at all. Chefs stayed in the kitchen. Early in the morning, they would troll farmers markets and stalls and fish markets to choose the day's food. Nobody really cared what we had to say, just cared what we did on our plates. Today, that's changed a bit. Chefs are frequently called upon to cook at fundraisers for food pantries, food-based charities to help meet the needs of those who struggle with hunger. As a group, chefs have never been more active and never raised more money than we do now, and yet studies show that more people are hungry, are food insecure in this country today, more than any other time in history. It's frustrating. And it's spurred me to ask a question, why? Why in this great country, where we produce enough food, are children going hungry every day? I'm also here as a business owner. At my restaurants, I have dozens of employees who work long hours, and I understand how urgently many of them need to know that their children receive healthy nutrition at schools and daycare centers where they spend a large part of each day. It is hard enough to make a living in today's economy. No working parent should have to worry whether their child has enough to eat. I'm encouraged that Chairman Miller's bill allows for additional meals for children who are in daycare longer than 8 hours, as so many are spending time in after-school settings. Chairman Miller's bill supports working families. I'll say that again. This bill supports working families. In addition, this bill makes important strides to ensure that low-income children don't go hungry during summer months when school is out. I'm also here as a father to a 17-year-old, Dante, and to an 11-month-old, Luca. My children, like children everywhere, are more than happy to slurp down junk food with empty calories, pizza, sodas, candy, and deep-fried anything. But the fact that they would eat this whenever doesn't give me permission to shrug my shoulders and say, well, that's what they want. It's my job as a parent to make sure that they have a variety of real nutritious foods served to them at every meal so that they grow into robust, healthy kids capable of meeting their full potential in life. And yet I hear people say, we'd like to improve school lunch program, but the kids, all they want to do is eat pizza and burgers. If we give them good food, they won't eat. Come on, people, we're adults here. It's up to us to do better. My kids would happily live in front of the Xbox and never take a shower for as long as they live, but that's not going to happen either. When I give them healthy, delicious food, they eat it with gusto. On a recent Top Chef episode, we challenged our contestants to prepare healthy, nutritious lunch for school children right here in D.C. What do you know? The kids ate it, they asked for seconds, they asked for thirds. I'm also here as the son of a lunch lady. My mother, Beverly Colicchio, worked for decades as a cafeteria supervisor in Elizabeth, New Jersey, where I was born. Elizabeth is not a wealthy town. And at the high school where she worked, almost 70% of the students qualified for free or reduced-price breakfast and lunch. My mother told us that often the meal she served those kids was the only food they got to eat all day. It was upsetting to her that the budgetary constraints imposed by low federal reimbursements meant that schools couldn't afford much in the way of fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, and high-quality proteins. The cheapest food contracted out to the lowest bidder was usually the food that was on the menu, and the kids who ate it and they didn't have a choice or an option of refusing. On a diet that may have met the nutritional guidelines without being truly healthy and whole, we expect our kids to learn, behave, socialize appropriately, and develop into healthy teens and adults. And we are quick to label and punish them when they don't. Without regular exposure to real food made from whole ingredients in a variety of textures, shapes, and colors, these children never develop a preference for healthy food and thus perpetuate a cycle of poor nutrition that can lead to a lifetime of costly, debilitating health problems like obesity and diabetes, not to mention the lost potential as active, healthy citizens. Schools today are forced to supplement their meager budgets with vending machines that supply empty calories from soft drinks and junk food. I ask you, how many of you here today would be content to let the bulk of your children's daily calories come from soda, chips, or branded fast food? And yet, we are sitting by and allowing that to happen for families who are struggling and who rely on us to do better. As thinking adults, as fellow parents, this is an egregious abdication of our responsibility towards kids. And if it is at all within our means to fix it, and I believe it is, I urge you to make it right now. Let's fund school lunch programs and breakfast programs at a spending level that significantly raises the quality and variety of what schools can afford, and get rid of the junk food and vending machines once and for all. Let's fund healthy snacks and meals in daycare centers and after-school programs. Let's expand access by broadening area eligibility requirements for summer feeding programs and expanding direct certifications to eliminate redundant paperwork for families and schools. There could be no better investment, no better stimulus to our economy than feeding this nation's children healthy and well. If we give kids in this country delicious, nutritious food, we will instill in them a lifetime preference for eating healthy that will translate into vast savings in healthcare costs down the line, providing the building blocks for millions of children to grow and develop as they should. This will mean a population of robust, productive adults and a more competitive America. Malnourished kids are not capable of vision and ideas. And without that, we are relegating this great nation to a future of mediocrity and poor health. I think we could do better, and I urge you today to get behind Chairman Miller's bill and make it happen. Thank you for the opportunity.